First, the general items. Your clip speed, this is driver. Clip head speed came out as about 89 miles per hour. Ignore this. This is elite man's average. So it's about 110, but
It looked like to me you went on full speed, that's why I asked.
and then
Do you see people that do that where coming in here inside, they don't know it, but they're not?
it is possible. And also, the way we calculate, it can be slightly underestimated. And then another one is overall swing time. So this is beginning of the backswing, and then this is impact. So overall, it takes about 1100 milliseconds, 1.1 second. I want you speed up backswing more. Okay, faster backswing. And then, so I don't know whether you will be able to see this. This one here, this actually has two numbers overlapped, 3 and 4. 3 is when, during the backswing, when your lead arm becomes parallel to the ground. The 4 is when the club is aligned vertically in the frontal view. These are happening at the same time. Okay, that means you are activating your wrist early. Let me take a look at this in this angle here, in the frontal view. So you will see that the lead arm becomes parallel to the ground. This is 3. When the club appears vertical, this is 4. So essentially, these are happening at the same time. In your case, is because your backswing is really flat.
What does that mean? Like in the out?
You're going too much inward.
Yeah, I've been working on that.
Yeah. So it's actually extremely flat. Okay. So that's why it appears that the 3 and the 4 occurs at the same time. And then let's go to the top view. So this is where we look at, this is the overhead view. And this is the target line. This large rectangle is your swing plane, which is calculated from the club head motion. It's a severely outward. Okay.
And you were talking to me about that just yesterday. She's been working on that.
Yeah, it's a slight over 7 degrees outward.
7?
Yeah. And in general, I want to see an angle less than 2 degrees. But,
less than 2?
But it depends on, because you are using high T, relatively high T.
I was using the high limit, then I changed it.
Yeah, so still, so you have a tendency of hitting the ball on the way up. However, still at impact, the direction your club head is moving is slightly outward. Okay? It's because of this outward swing plane. And then this smaller rectangle here, this is the hand motion plane. So this is calculated based on your hand motion. So what we see here is that relative to your swing plane, your hand motion plane is more inward. So in other words, the club is going outward quite a bit, and then your hands are going less outward. So it means you're actually pulling it in, because the whole direction is rotated to the right side here. But relative to that, your hands are coming in. That means you're using your arms quite a bit. So the angle difference is about 6 degrees here between the two planes.
You want those to be 0.
Close to 0, the parallel alignments.
Right.
Then when you have a parallel alignments, then you know if you throw your hands toward the target, then the club will also move in that direction. So it's easier to control the direction. And then when we align everything along the swing plane, this is the swing plane here. The straight line here is the swing plane. This path is your club head path, particularly in the backswing. So as backswing starts, you see, because you're spinning about pretty much the vertical axis here. So the club head is going this way here, around. But once it reaches the top position, on the way down, your club head path is a lot steeper than the backswing path here.
Do you understand what he's saying?
So I'm coming down.
So this
across
is
it.
this is a so-called over-the-top swing
Yeah.
relative to your backswing path
Yeah.
here.
So what, for a long time, she did the opposite thing, which is she was, big over the top, hit down on it to the left, and then overcorrected the other way. But that's still a remnant of that move from the top, I think, where you come over, but
Yeah.
you do
So-
understand what he's saying.
So generally, what I usually see is that in the backswing, the club head pretty much moves along the swing plane here, okay, instead of going below. But in your case, it's going below here. So when the club head goes along the swing plane, then eventually it goes up and then have nice looping motion and then coming down like this. But this is an extreme case. So it's easier to go a bit higher and then dropping on the way down. But when you go flat here, go up, and then coming down along a steeper path, that's exactly the opposite to that. So actually, there is no reason to do that here because, and also when this happens, you go slowly backward like this, and then quickly try to come down here. It just promotes abrupt motion. So instead, have the feel of throwing the club instead of dragging all the way here. If you throw the club, then the club wants to go laterally, but you're holding one end, then it will make it go around here. So you don't have to intentionally try to make it go around. Just to throw and the hold, throw and the hold one end, then it will go around.
Okay.
So then it will go more this way here. And then because of the anatomical limitation, when you turn more and more, then your arms go up. So naturally, the club goes initially this way and then going up, and they have nice loop and coming down. So this is an area you need to work on. Okay.
And step one of that is not getting it so flat.
Not spinning. And then you need to have a good image of the swing plane. The swing plane is typically when you connect the ball and your right shoulder, right elbow here. That's a typical swing plane here. As you can see, it is passing through the midsection of the trunk, and then that means it is generally going through the elbow here. Okay. So once you image that plane, and then try to throw the club head along that plane, have active motion throw to this position rather than moving the body this way and then try to turn. Okay?
That's what you do with that white board there, right?
Yeah.
Visualizing
Yeah.
that white board
Yeah.
around.
So that's about 45 degrees in inclination. And then she can practice something like that. So just on the right side, you don't have to have the whole thing, just the right one, the right side here. So just using a sheet of plywood to lean it on the wall with about 45-degree angle, and then stand against it, and from there, just to practice the elbow motion. If the elbow follows along that plane, the club head cannot go below. So look at this. This is the swing plane here. So elbow goes here, and then you actively throw the club.
You're talking about her right elbow.
Yeah.
And you're saying if the right elbow doesn't get here, then the club.
So the elbow is essentially moving along the swing plane here, and then when you just throw the club head actively, then it will go automatically around here instead of try to turn with it. So the feel will be something like this. So when you are assuming the initial setup position here, and hold this with the right hand, then the left hand shows the swing plane here. So if you extend this, then it will hit the ball. From the ball to elbow, this is the swing plane. Maintain this swing plane, feel this plane here, and then throw, and then you automatically go to this position here. So have active motion, throw, instead of going this way here. So you need to practice this active motion. And then throw. Then it doesn't go too far up. It doesn't go too far down. Use the momentum. Okay? And then the elbow, this elbow will follow. So if you have this piece here, the hand is on the plane here. It's going here. Throw here. You will go to this position because elbow stays here. And then, so go up to this position. If you look at this posture here, in order to move the club head flat here, your hands are also traveling fairly low here. At the top, this is swing plane. Your hands are deviated about this much here. The club head is deviated about this much.
Yeah.
So this causes a crossover alignment.
I don't understand what you're saying.
You see how you see how the club is like.
This
Are you
is
saying
the
across the line with the.
this is the swing plane, and the hands are deviated this much. Hands are here, so this is the deviation of the hands from the swing plane. This is the club head deviation from the swing plane here. So the club head is deviated more than the hands from the swing plane. It's a crossover alignment. When the club is aligned parallel to the swing plane, it's parallel alignment. When the club head deviation is less than the hand deviation, it's a layoff. Okay, but in your case, you have a crossover alignment. When you have a crossover alignment, then this dictates what you do in the downswing. So whenever you have a crossover alignment, then your hands will have to go more inward than the club head.
Okay, are you saying? I'm just saying in my terms to see if this makes sense. So she puts it in a place where it's across the line, which promotes the over the top in the transition.
So what happens is when you have a crossover alignment at the top here, then on the way down you have to correct this.
Right.
So then hands tend to go in more than the club head motion. So you remember here, her hand motion plane is more inward than the swing plane.
Right.
It's because of the crossover alignment. Because you know that you are in the crossover position here, that you want to compensate this so that you can throw the club head to the direction you want. Then the hands will move more inward than the
How
club
would
motion.
you address that in a training or drill or a reprogramming or how?
You have to go more parallel alignment. Okay, so in her case, she has to move the elbow a bit higher, the hands are higher, and have a feel of dropping the club head behind the back.
You got that?
So for you, compared to the current posture, when you try to lay off a little bit, then you'll feel like this is a lot of layoff. But actually, if you look at the club alignment, it'll be more parallel to the swing plane. So you may have to use a mirror or something, or a camera, showing your body posture, and then experiment that, and then see when you feel certain ways, then how the club is aligned. So what you do and what you feel should be matched. Sometimes what you feel is very different from what you actually do. That's why you cannot change things.
Yeah.
And then also rely on the momentum. Instead of intentionally try to manipulate the posture, throw, that because of momentum, the club wants to keep going this way here, right? So if you throw the club in the correct direction, it'll go around, go to this position. Automatically, it will assume reasonably parallel alignment to the swing plane. So use the momentum of the club and the body, and then go this way here instead of try to lift this up. So then from this position on the way down, now you have to move this part here forward here. You're dragging you're pulling the handle. Now look at this. If you look at the shape of this path here on the way down, the cleaved path on the way down, it's almost symmetrical. Image a line drawn here. Okay? If you draw a line, then this path here and then this path is symmetrical. That means you're pulling the grip, the handle down quite a bit. So it's arm driven. Instead of, you start the downswing with the body motion here, and then naturally drop this rather than pulling the handle. Because you turned this way, went up here, and then from the beginning you try to pull the handle quite a bit. So when this happens, usually uncocking occurs early. So you let the club go early. Because when you pull the handle, then the head tends to go away from your body. Okay. So later we will see that. But generally on the way down, when the cleaved path appears to be symmetric, that means it's arm driven. So you are dragging the handle with hands.
And by the way, Ava, that is much better than it used to be. So what you've done, you've made progress on that. I would say more than half of it is gone, maybe 75% of it gone. So.
And another interesting aspect in your swing is that in the downswing, you almost have a two-stage motion here. So initial action is pulling the handle down. Okay, so from here to here, it's dragging the handle here. Then from this point on, you try to slide your pelvis toward the target quite a bit here. So what happens is, if you keep dragging, it's okay. Drag all the way. But what you do is, initially you are dragging here, then suddenly you try to go this way. So these two motions. I mean, you can certainly go up here and then drag and then swing through. This is possible. But your choice is, somehow you learned this through your practice, but when you do this, then the ball may go to the direction you want. So you somehow develop this pattern, but so flat here, go all the way here. Initial action is pull this, drag the club, but then the second action is you're sliding your body and then try to swing here. So the right heel leaves the ground early. When you slide the body toward the target, you see this action here. Right heel leaves the ground early.
Yeah.
You're coming this way.
Yeah.
So you can certainly swing through, even if you drag it. I mean, go up here, just to swing through. This is possible here. Swing through. But what you're doing is drag here, and then try to slide the body toward target. This is where you lose a lot of power. And the speed is lost because of that action. Okay. Because the lower body action, upper body action are not working together. Your lower body is supposed to work with the ground, and it generates this rotational motion here. But if your lower body goes like this, and then this upper body is on its own, because your lower body is not supporting this rotation. So what I see in your swing is almost a two-stage
Let me ask a question. One thing we've known for a long time, if we put her on a swing speed radar or something with a ball and then do it with no ball, when the ball there, she almost gets bound to it and reacts and anticipates, like she's trying to hit it further. But then if you don't have a ball there, she doesn't do that, and we notice
That,
it goes
that,
a lot faster, like 5, 6 miles an hour faster. Is that why? Because of the lateral bump with the hip?
the,
Am I thinking
she
about
has
that
she has this inherently in her swing. She has this, and then I think this is a. I don't know. Do you know how you developed this type of pattern? So, sliding the pelvis toward the target quite a bit. Did, do you know how you developed that pattern?
Oh,
Was it from the beginning or?
I mean, I think I've just like always kind of done that, and I've had like a jumping, like we used to call it jumping, where you like jump. And I like stopped doing that with my front foot, but then like I just kept doing it with my back foot. And then I worked on it for a while and it went away, but like it just comes back, so I keep on like getting rid of it and then it comes back.
Yeah, jumping is quite common among junior players. It's the worst pattern that you can develop when you're a junior player. And she also has that issue. So later we'll talk about the ground reaction force, how she's interacting with ground. But so again, go back to this issue here. So what I see here is you're turning around, and then the initial action is pull the handle down. Once this is done, then suddenly you are sliding the pelvis toward the target. So right heel leaves the ground early, then you lose the opportunity to work with the ground well with the right leg here. And then look at this motion. The pelvis is almost flat here. At this point,
What are you saying? It's lost the tilt, or I don't
yeah,
know.
I lost the tilt.
Okay.
So at this point, the left hip should be higher, right hip should be lower. But on one hand, you are sliding toward the target, but the right hip and the right side is just floating. It's not doing much in terms of interacting with the ground. You're just turning it this way here. So what happens is your lower body action and the upper body rotation, these are not working really together. And you'll see a lot of flipping here. Certainly here, the hands goes
Yeah,
higher.
and then you lose the width and extension coming through there, right? If that part, you think that the driver of that right there is that flat hip slide?
The flat hip, and also because you keep dragging the club, you are keep dragging the club, so your elbows are all bent. You are dragging here, and then here you try to flip it here. So instead of throwing the club head and then form this long leverage here, and then let it go in the swing through versus, because you're dragging, lower body is not helping that much, then you try to flip it.
Yeah.
So the left arm is not well extended here. You see the flexed elbow here.
Yep.
So if you look at this in the frontal view, it's because you keep dragging while the body is sliding. So this means the lower body is not really supporting your upper body turn that well. So instead of just rotating and throwing the club, you keep using your arms to drag the club here. And then your head is on the right side of the body here. You are here. The pelvis is sliding quite a bit, and then the arms are still dragging. So this is with this, what happens is this is the impact. This is the ground reaction force. This is a combined ground reaction force, but it goes below the body weight. So it's a jumping like action here. So when you jump, then you lose the interaction with the ground. Okay? So again, let's go back to the swing plane view. So you have to make the motion as simple as possible. Largely, the swing motion is a rotational motion, but in order to facilitate the rotational motion, your body shifts to the right and left. When you shift it to the right, then it's easy to turn around the right leg because the right leg can push the ground. Good. On the left side, when you turn this way, you have to have a good amount of force on the left side, and using that, push the ground and just a turn around rather than jumping or sliding the body toward target a lot. So you have to make it really simple here. Imagine you're moving the hands around your body. All you do is just a turn and then let it go, turn around, throw. This is the motion. But when you try to jump and then slide here, then
That's what Aaron's talked about for years.
Can you put his hat up here?
No,
Where did he put it?
I don't know.
who's your coach?
Chuck Cook at UT.
Okay, Chuck Cook. So this pattern should have been sorted out long time ago. So she has been using this for a while. And at this point, you are 15 now, right? So still it's not too late. But try to make the swing motion as simple as possible. It's mainly rotational motion along the swing plane. Swing this way and then reverse the direction and then throw, simple rotational motion. And then there you are developing good lower body action here. With that, repeat the swing motion back and forth. When the motion is not natural or not comfortable, then when you repeat the motion, then you will be able to feel it. Okay, so again, now let's go to the center of mass motion here. The upper one is the center of mass of the whole body in the frontal view here. So what happens is the center of mass initially moves horizontally this way here and going up and then going down here. Here, you see this is steep downward motion. Your center of mass is moving downward too much. And then when you look at the body posture here, look at this. The pelvis is already sliding. Your upper body is leaning this way here. So part of the reason you keep your head on this side here, and then upper body is coming down while the pelvis is sliding. With this, your whole body center of mass drops quite a bit here.
Yeah. And that starts with
I'm gonna go for
the pelvis again?
So this is the high point. Center of mass reaches the high point here. And then from here to here, see what's happening here. While the pelvis is sliding, she's dragging the club with the upper body going low here. So again, this is the high point. Center of mass is at the high point here. And then this is the low point here.
I'm not, I mean, I see you're tracking center of mass.
Center of mass of the whole body.
And I see it drop. But that doesn't,
From
that
here to
doesn't
here.
feel unusual to me, but I may not.
No, it's a too much drop here.
Too much, but so it should drop, but not that
It should
much.
drop, but it has to go. Actually, the high point should occur about here when this 5 here. 5 is when the pelvis rotation is completed. This is usually where you have the high point. But in her case, because she started flat here, keep turning. Because of that, the center mass goes up a bit more here. So the high point occurs here. From here to here, if it's a normal unweighting, then it will go, so it reaches high point here, and then it will go more this way here. then the low point will be slightly lower than the initial position and then going up here. But because of the flat rotation, the high point occurs about here, and from here, it's dropping quite a bit. It's not.
What problem is that causing later?
So this is caused by unusual upper body motion. The upper body is dragging this,
I get that.
and then the pelvis slides away.
Therefore, what bad's going to happen?
So you are introducing unnecessary motion. This just complicates the swing motion.
Okay.
Here, what you have to promote is good rotational motion.
Okay.
But upper body is coming down here, pelvis is sliding. With that, you keep dragging the club. So then you have this rapid downward motion.
And right here, this pelvis, if this is the pelvis, you would rather than, this is the target on this side, rather than this, you just want it like that, more like that.
So around here, so
That-
from
that- and that was the
so
question.
from here, your right hip stays up, the higher, left hip is lower.
Right.
Okay, so you have the lateral tilt here,
Okay.
and then as you come down, so around here it will be leveled here. Okay, and after that, this has to go up. So left hip stays higher and then right side stays lower. So in the backswing, the right side is higher, left side is lower here. But in the downswing, toward the end of the impact, so toward the impact, what you need to see is left side is now staying higher than the right side. So the right hip should be dropped here instead of turning flat here. It's almost floating here. Let's see how much she's turning here, pelvis motion here. So she's turning pelvis to the right this much, and then at impact, she's turning the pelvis about this much. So she's turning the pelvis right more, the less at impact. That's why the ball is going to the right side of the target, or the swing plane is outward. But so here, when you have just the typical motion, you use the right leg actively in the backswing, and then left leg actively in the backswing. This is the typical pelvis motion. Look at this. This is the typical pelvis motion here. Swing through. But here in the downswing, you're turning like this.
So, one more time, show me hers and then a perfect one.
So typical motion is like this here. Okay? The simple motion here.
And your
Swing,
your
swing.
left hip is higher.
Higher.
There. Okay, now hers is, right, the slide.
Slide, and then also
So
this
it
is not
stays-
dropping.
It stays level. You want the right
Should be
to
lower.
drop. Is that related to the right foot coming up early?
Now she's more sliding left, and then the right heel is leaving the ground early. Okay? That means, so if you maintain good push with the toe, okay, going this way, then this stays a bit lower, but it's floating already. The heel is leaving the ground, and the right hip is floating in the turning like this. But this shouldn't be that complex. This shouldn't be that complex. If you develop good stepping like rhythm, this should be a simple issue. Okay. So go back to the center mass. So generally, the center mass motion is too abrupt, going down quite a bit. It's because of the upper body lean. And you have a lot of lateral tilt. So essentially, you will see that the spine is aligned or tilted away. This is quite a bit. So what should happen is at least your thorax here, at least your thorax at the top of the backswing thorax should show a slight reverse pivot posture here. So thorax is actually leaning toward the target, but in your case, everything is leaning away, even in the downswing. Because your body keeps leaning away, that's why the pelvis has to go slide and then go this way here. So
it's not the exact same thing that Aaron was telling me. It's like similar.
So look at this. The upper body, the thorax and above are the main one that rotates. But even it rotates, but still it has to maintain good dynamic balance. So during the backswing, if your arms and club are moving this way here, your thorax has to lean this way slightly so that maintain better balance here. But you tend to lean away. Okay. So from here, so when you go to downswing, you have to slide here, and then the right hip is floating here. But in the backswing, at the top of the backswing, if you maintain a little bit of reverse pivot posture of the thorax here, then everything becomes easy because you'll be able to bring this higher. So you don't have to go flat here. If you bring the right shoulder a bit higher, this way, then this goes to slight reverse pivot posture here. So from here, just to simply throw.
Gotcha. Oh, I bet you really blow some people's minds in here. It says there's a lot to keep up
Yeah,
with.
it's a lot.
So here is dropping quite a bit, and then you are moving it up again. It's because now the left hip is going up here. Then here you have a jumping like action here. Okay. And then, so let's look at the pelvis motion here. The pelvis motion is completed fairly early here. So if this is the beginning of this is the beginning of backswing, and then the top of backswing is here. So then, since this is the top of backswing here, this pattern, this is rotation. The red line shows how much you rotate your pelvis during the backswing. This has to go more straight toward and then change the direction here. But you are developing the rotation early, and it's gradually decreasing here. Part of the reason is, part of the reason is your backswing is slow. That's why this happens. So when you have active backswing, so go actively swing, swing, swing. In this motion, you will see that this line is going more this way here, and then change direction. But you are developing the rotation early here, and then slowly turning backward.
The early rotation related to the inside plane. And
Yep, it's a flat backswing. And then this blue line shows a lateral tilt.
Okay.
So during the backswing, because the right side is higher than the left side in the pelvis, so you go this way here. Again, this one should be going straight here, and then once you reach the top of backswing, it has to go more rapidly up here, and then at impact, this blue line should be above the zero level here. So that means at impact, your hip should be, left hip should be higher than the right hip. But because you're pretty much turning flat toward the impact, so it stays around the zero here. Okay, even at impact, still your right side is a bit higher here.
I feel like all this stuff is kind of like related a little bit, right?
Yeah. So
So
no-
if I wanted to like fix,
no-
okay, if I wanted to fix like everything, like if I made a big list of everything I wanted to fix, what would I start?
the first one is a faster backswing.
Is the what?
Faster backswing.
Okay,
Faster backswing, and then throwing the club along the swing plane.
and that should like make everything kind of like come together. Like,
So all these are interrelated. So when you change one aspect, then the several aspects will change automatically.
yeah.
So if you have to change anything, then it's gotta be first in the backswing. The way you do the backswing will set the ground for the downswing. So when you change the way you do the backswing, then it automatically changes a lot of things in the downswing. So it should be, when you're fundamentally changing things, then it should be as early as possible. That means early stage of backswing. If you throw the arms and club,
Meaning set up, then backswing, then.
so at the beginning of the backswing, how you start the backswing. When you have active backswing and then throw the arms and club along the swing plane laterally, then because of momentum, it'll go around automatically and then go to the top position here. So this is not something you are intentionally creating. Your goal in the backswing is not assuming certain body posture, but promote the active backswing here so that you create enough coiling of the body. So, but in general, your spine is leaning away from the target all the time here. So,
Well, you want it there, do you not?
so this is too much. Okay, so if you look at the thorax here, so this is a thorax rotational motion. The green is how much you lean forward. The red one shows in which direction you are leaning. Okay. Normally, this line should be close to zero, and then it should go above the axis and then coming down here. But it's always below the axis. That means your thorax is always leaning in the away direction. Okay. So
What club was that?
this driver. So here is the thorax axis. This is the spine axis. Currently, it's leaning away. So from the beginning, and then you're maintaining the posture here. So the thorax spine axis is always leaning in the away direction.
I don't understand. You mean so my torso is like leaning backwards? I thought it was supposed to be like that with driver.
When
Still,
you set up with driver,
you have a little bit of leaning away, but when you
I mean
turn,
leaning away, leaning like this.
yeah,
I thought I was supposed to do that.
that's set
yes,
up.
at the beginning you have a little bit of leaning away. This is
But
so.
then it like flattens out.
As I said, while the upper body is actively rotating, it should maintain good dynamic balance. That means it has to be balanced. When the arms and club are moving in the away direction, right, then your thorax has to lean this way to balance this. Then your thorax has to, particularly around here, your thorax has to actually align more this way here. Then you'll have a good balance here. But you're losing the balance because you keep leaning away from the target.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a lot of leaning throughout the entire swing here. And then even in the downswing, this becomes a more leaning away because your head is down here. Your pelvis is sliding and coming this way.
The head a cause or effect of that stuff?
Both ways. So what happens is when the image that your hairs are held by something here, then your head cannot move this way, right? So this part, top is held here, and then when you have a turn motion, you're going into this position. So when your pelvis wants to go away slightly, with that, but your head is held here, automatically you have a slight reverse pivot thorax alignment here. And then from here, when you swing down, this happens. So later you can lean away. But from the beginning, if you allow your head to move in the lateral direction, everything is leaning. So could it be because your body is leaning so that your head is moving this way, or because you have the intention to keep your head on this side, then automatically in order to make that happen, your thorax has to lean away. So either way.
Okay.
But have the image of, in the backswing, particularly in the backswing, have the image of somebody is holding your hairs. So the top cannot move in the away direction, okay? And then, but if you want to throw the arms and club in this direction, also move the pelvis slightly this way, you're automatically going to this position here. Your head is turning. This is held here. Your head is turning, face is turning about 45 degrees. So you are gazing the ball over your left shoulder. So throw the arms and club this way, but your head is held here. You have to assume slight reverse pivot alignment for the thorax. That way you are maintaining good balance here.
So you're talking about how in my downswing my head goes like that?
You're always leaning in the away direction.
Yeah. So one of my swing coaches, they told me that like I wouldn't be able to see the ball. It was like because I was like right or left eye dominant or something. I think I was like left. But like I wouldn't be able to see the ball if I didn't do that.
If you are left arm, left eye dominant,
Yeah.
you
whatever
can
I
watch the
was.
ball with over the shoulder using a peripheral vision. Okay.
Or like right eye or left eye. I don't remember.
So here, what you have to avoid is going like this.
Yeah.
If the upper body leans away, then everything becomes flat automatically. Okay? So try to not to lean this way too much in terms of body. So even if you're starting here, because you're using sort of a strong grip here, the hands are located in front of the left thigh here. From here, this is slightly leaning. But when you have an active leg action and then your shoulder goes up here, along that line here, your elbow is moving along that line, the club head is moving along that plane here, then automatically you are going into slight reverse pivot posture here. And then using your peripheral vision, you're gazing the ball. If you are going to this position, then you cannot do this.
Yeah.
So you are leaning your thorax away quite a bit here throughout the entire swing. This is the separation. This is separation between the hips and shoulders. It's called the X factor here. So in our case, we calculated on the swing plane. So about here, it's a 0. The X factor is 0 because these two lines are parallel to each other. This is the hip line. This is the shoulder line. After that, the shoulder turns more, so the X factor increases. And you have a quick increase up to this point.
Oh, that seems like a lot.
It's a lot of separation here.
That's good though, right?
Nope.
Everything you think is
No, the magnitude is not important.
The what?
The magnitude is not important.
Okay.
What's important is the shape of the curve. It should be more continuous. There's a continuous separation all the way to top of action. But you are separating up to this point quickly. From this point on, the slope changes. Again, in the back, you have two-stage motion here. So what happens
You're
is,
saying, wait, from right there, you're saying the slope of the curve, it's a steep separation,
and then the slope changes here. That means a two stages separation during the backswing. So what happens is early on you have a quick separation here. That because the motion is relatively slow, after this it's mostly just an arm and a club motion here.
Okay, I get that.
And that this is too much shoulder rotation. So the shoulder turns this much, but in the downswing, so you have a lot of shoulder turn here, but in the downswing, if you don't catch this, then this has no meaning.
If you don't what?
If you don't cash in,
Oh,
okay? So with this much shoulder turn, then you should be able to use the shoulder turn and then throw the arms and club. But what you chose was slide and then drag it here. So then you're not really taking advantage of that shoulder rotation. It is an excessive rotation. The curves are flexible, so you can generate this much separation. This elite man's average. So it's way above. It's close to 100 degrees between the hip line and the shoulder line.
Where's the elite men's average?
The line.
This way.
Her line is,
So the peak is here.
why does it look like it's the same to me?
What do I mean by same?
You see, okay, Dad, you see the dotted line? That's the man's line is the book.
This is elite men's average.
Oh,
Okay. So, I mean, but the curves are flexible, so you can go more than this. But what's important is how you separate this. And then, so it has to be continuous separation toward the top of backswing instead of two-stage separation. But this separation is too much here. This is way too much. So you can see that your shoulders are aligned this way on the swing plane here. So this is a lot of shoulder rotation here. But then you have to utilize this. But on the way down, what happens is, because the pelvis is sliding toward the target, and then essentially you're using it to drag the club instead of go turn this much here, and then instead of letting it go, generate good rotation here, what you did was drag it. So particularly when you have intention to generate good rotation and then throw here, you don't have to turn your shoulder this much. So you are essentially going low here and then drag this here. Instead, throw and then throw. You have to generate good speed rather than generating too much range of motion. Okay? So this is a lot actually. And then
what's the most you've ever seen?
probably about here, close to 100 degrees.
All right.
So the expect is about, the average actually about 93 degrees. Okay, that's quite a bit. And then now the club is traveling quite a bit here. The arms are pretty much aligned vertically here. Okay, this means it's a bit over rotation. You can turn that much, but it's not about turning as much as you can, but rather it's more rhythmic turn here. Rhythmic turn, throw, throw, throw. So that rhythm should come from the legs. The leg pushes the ground, right leg pushes the ground and promote this motion. Left leg pushes the ground to promote this motion. It should come from good, almost stepping like action here. Swing, swing, swing. So what matters is how you decelerate the shoulder rotation here. And then reverse the direction and then start the acceleration here. So deceleration, acceleration, deceleration, acceleration. This is the key aspect. Instead of just turning as much as you can. Okay? Now the kinematic sequence. So these are the angular velocities, rotational velocities measured on the swing plane here. Because the swing plane is the main plane of rotation. So we can assess the angular velocity on the swing plane easily. Now let me turn this off. So I eliminate the wrist angular velocity. Okay, so the red line is the pelvis angular velocity. Green is the thorax. Blue is the shoulders. And then gray is the arms. And then this reddish line is the club here. Now, your pelvis angular velocity reaches the peak value in the backswing here. So from here to here, this is the top of backswing. So this is the backswing. And then this peak occurs early in the backswing. This is a bit too early. You have to reach the peak angular velocity a bit later here. So you have an early quick action, then slow motion. Remember, in the X factor, I said you have almost a two-stage backswing. It's because of quick turn and then more arm and club-driven motion after that. So because of that, you reach the peak pelvis angular velocity early. And then this is the thorax. And the shoulder and arms are reaching the peak angular velocity at the same time. This is a bit unusual. Normally, the trunk segments, pelvis, thorax, and the shoulders, these can happen at the same time, but your arms will have, reach the peak value a bit later, and then the club here. So it seems the shoulders are reaching this peak a bit later, but in general, this is a bit too early. So what should happen is, when you have a good throw here, and then build the climax toward the end, in one motion, and then create good coiling of the body toward the end, then these peaks will delay, then the arms will delay, and then the club will delay. Then you'll have a good continuous transition to the downswing. But you have a bit too quick early action here. But this is typically happens when you have a slow motion. Okay? But the most important sequence is the transition sequence here. And then, so the red line is pelvis. The pelvis goes first, and then thorax and shoulders are close to each other, and then the arms and club here. So in general, in the transition sequence, it's a sequential transition, starting from the pelvis, thorax, shoulders, arms, and club. Okay. So the transition sequence is okay. And then in the downswing, the peak angular velocity occurs about here for the pelvis, thorax, and then shoulders here. The timing is okay. Timing is good. And then arms go a bit late, and then the club here. Now let's take a look at the wrist motion, your wrist motion. So this pink line here, this is your wrist angular velocity. If it's 0, then you are not doing cocking or uncocking. So from here to here, pretty much your arms and club are moving together here. So no cocking or uncocking. So from this point on, you have a cocking motion here. So when it goes negative, it's cocking. So you're promoting, after there's almost a 1 unit rotation with the arms and club, then from here, you are giving the wrist a cock, right? And then when it goes positive, then it's uncocking. And then your uncocking starts here. This is a bit early. The uncocking, if uncocking starts around close to 7 here, you can delay uncocking to this point. It's called a delayed uncocking or delayed release. In your case, you have early release. It's because when you pull the handle, when you drag the handle, the club head moves away from your body. So with this much rotation, and even the club goes here, but you could keep the club a bit closer to the body as you start the downswing, instead of letting it go slightly away from the body. So it's an early release here. And then let's go to the way you interact with the ground. So here, these two arrows are the ground reaction forces acting on your feet. And then this middle one is the sum of these two. Okay? So this is a combined force. And then the middle graph shows the force magnitude. So here, so the middle one is your ground reaction force. Okay. And then the lower one is the so-called the moment arm or lever arm. Imagine you are using a wrench to rotate something. Then from the center of rotation to where your hand is, that distance is moment arm. So when you increase the momentum, it's easier to rotate things because you can generate more torque. Okay. So the lower graph is showing moment arm. The upper graph is showing the torque you generate by using the ground. Torque is force times momentum. Now, the meaning of momentum is, so we are here. You see this arrow, this is the combined force. This arrow and then this red dot is the center of mass. So essentially by using the ground reaction force, we are generating rotation about the center of mass. And then the separation between this arrow and the center of mass. So here's the arrow, here's the center of mass. This separation is called the momentum. It's like the distance from the center of rotation to your hand when you use a wrench. Okay? So this is momentum, and then when you multiply the force and momentum, then you get the torque. So the torque is the cause of angular rotation, angular acceleration, rotational acceleration. So in order to have a fast acceleration in terms of rotation, you have to generate large torque. But for that, either you have large force or long momentum. Okay. And then at this point here, let's take a look at the force here. So the green line is the force acting on the lead foot. The blue line is the force acting on the trail foot. And then the red line is the combined force here. Okay? And then the combined force becomes a maximum during the backswing about here. And there is a mainly coming from good push from the trail side, right? But I want to see large force here. The red line should go higher. But currently you cannot do that because your backswing is kind of slow. So when you push harder here, that means that you have a faster motion. Okay. Now,
A faster motion is forces the right foot more into. I don't know.
so force is the cause of acceleration.
Okay.
Torque is the cause of rotational acceleration. So if you want to rotate fast, then you have to have a faster acceleration.
Okay.
That means you have to have a larger torque, right?
Okay.
In order to generate larger torque, at this stage, you have two choices. One, either increase the force, or another one, to elongate the momentum.
Oh. Okay.
So either way, if you elongate the momentum or increase the force, then you have large torque here, larger torque.
Okay.
And then, so when you push the ground harder at this stage, then it will give more torque, then it will accelerate the rotation faster. That means that you'll have a faster backswing. So as soon as you have the intention of speeding up the backswing, then this force goes up here. Yeah. Okay. Now, so I see some issues in the force pattern here. First, the beginning is good. So this is the beginning of the backswing. You will see more force acting on your lead side. This is good. If you are just having complete stable setup position, then these two forces will be equal to each other. However, you have a more force acting on the lead side when you start the backswing. This is good. So if you utilize this, then you can actually have a faster backswing, but because you want to go flat, turning flat here slowly, that's why you cannot push that hard here. But from here to this one here, so now you have more force acting on the trail side, not much on the leader side. This is perfectly normal up to this point. Although when you want to have a faster motion, then this red line goes up, and then this blue also goes up here. Okay, but other than that, so up to this point is okay. But see what happens after that. Now you lose the force difference between these two. Here, this is when the pelvis rotation is completed. And then slide after that, the two force becomes equal to each other. What that means is that you are shifting your body early toward the target. You're losing this force difference.
So same thing as the pelvis.
Still at this point, this is top of action here. Still at this point, you should have a larger force acting on the trail side. That means that this difference should be fairly well maintained throughout the backswing.
So more weight should be on my back foot. I
At
thought
this
coming-
point.
At this point, this
It's
is
all
top of
about to
action
change, but there.
here. So this is a top of action here. Top of action, still you should have a good amount of force acting on the trail side. So this point is
and
called,
right now it's on my front.
this is called the center pressure.
I think you're pretty,
The center pressure should be here, close to the trail foot, and also this force should be inclined like this. So in order to have a good inclination of the force, you need two things. One, you should have a good horizontal force. Currently, what you are doing is you are just spinning around. So you are pretty much sharing equal amount of force, and just to try to turn around. But actually, in the swing motion, when you have a reasonably fast motion here, then you should have this lateral motion here. So when I repeat this motion,
Yeah.
you see my body is moving laterally, right? With this, actually, you are pushing the ground laterally. In the backswing, you're pushing the ground this way here. The ground is pushing your body this way. You have this horizontal force. So if you add a horizontal force here, then this force has to go this way. It will incline, okay? But you don't have horizontal force here because both feet are pretty much just pushing the ground down. So the ground reaction force is almost upright here. You don't have horizontal force. That means you are not interacting with the ground in the horizontal direction. That's why the force is vertical here. Imagine if you add a little bit of inclination here. Okay, if you add a little bit of inclination, then the momentum becomes longer. Here is the center of mass. Currently, your force is going this way here. Okay? So red dot is my fist here. This arrow is the combined force going this way. If you add a little bit of inclination, this separation increases. Then your momentum becomes longer. If the momentum becomes longer, then you have more torque generated. So this is elite man's average maximum momentum. This is elite man's average maximum torque. But this is normalized to the body weight, so it's, we can directly compare yours with this. But this is elite man's average, but you are way below here because of the short momentum here. And it's
because of the short,
momentum.
okay. Which is,
This one here. So at this point, the force still should be acting here. It should give a good inclination here, so that you have a long momentum.
That pelvis thing, that's just that weight sliding early, right? No?
Again, this force, force is the combined force, right?
Got it?
Currently, it's just the vertical.
Yep.
That means she doesn't have this horizontal force acting.
Pushing off the ground.
Yeah. So this is basically ground reaction force. It's coming from the ground.
Okay.
So she has to push the ground in the horizontal direction to have horizontal ground reaction force.
Okay.
But because as she is turning flat here and then just maintaining pretty much balanced interaction with the ground here.
Okay.
So the combined force is vertical. That's why the separation between this arrow and the center of mass is short.
Okay.
Momentum is short, so the torque is small here.
Okay.
And then it's because she's losing first the force difference here. Okay, you have to maintain this force difference throughout the entire backswing. So throughout the entire backswing, you should have more force acting on your trail side, right side.
Yeah.
And then with this force, you can also push the ground down and laterally outward. Okay. What this force does is, instead of almost generating this vertical force here, if you look at earlier here, this force is fairly inclined here. This arrow is inclined, right? But as you continue this, you are losing that inclination here. And then this force becomes almost straight up here.
So she's not pushing horizontally off of the ground.
So in other words, she does not have this horizontal motion here. In order to push the ground in the horizontal direction, you have to move in the horizontal direction.
Yeah.
There's no way to generate the force without moving, okay? Because force is the cause of motion. So when you have a force, then your body has to move. In other words, unless you move, you cannot generate the force in that direction. So in the horizontal direction,
Force generates the movement.
yes, but we can go the opposite way here. If you don't want to move, then you cannot generate that force, right?
Okay.
Unless you have the intention to move. If you don't want to move, then you are not pushing that. You are not generating that force.
Okay.
If you don't move. So if you don't want to move, then you are not pushing the ground in that direction. So the force causes motion, but in order to generate the force you want, then you must have a motion in that direction. So in other words, during the swing motion, you should have this lateral motion. Otherwise, you will not be able to generate lateral force. So when the force is always vertical like this, then your moment time is really short. Okay? So then when you have a short moment time, then you're not generating that much torque. Torque is the cause of rotational acceleration. If you have a smaller torque, then you are not rotating fast enough. So throughout the entire downswing, the torque is less than half of the maximum. Typically, we see here. This is normalized by the body weight, so it eliminates the body size effect. So yours should be close to this level here, but way below. This is the maximum here, but it's a sharp peak here. Instead, this has to stay close to this line, good portion of the downswing here. And then, look at this here. This red line is staying close to the body weight. This is one body weight here. So in the vertical direction, what happens is you are interacting with the ground by pushing the ground more than your body weight or less than your body weight. When the force is more than the body weight, this is called active push. So this is active push. This is also active push. Okay? When the force becomes less than the body weight, this is called the unweighting. So we are basically interacting with the ground in the vertical direction, either using active push or unweighting, because we always have body weight acting. So you can go above the body weight or below the body weight. So we have active push here, good unweighting, and the active push here, right? The problem is, when you have active push, then the next is unweighting, but this unweighting should be continuous here. But pretty much almost no unweighting here, no excitement here. Then by the time you reach the top of backswing, suddenly you are introducing this unweighting here. It's because you're lowering your upper body. That causes this unweighting. And then you have a hard push after that here. Hard push here. This is actually too much.
Yeah.
If
Too much where?
here,
On both?
no, the combined.
And both individually?
And this one, actually, you should have a lot more force acting with the lead foot and a lot less in the trail foot. So this difference should be increased quite a bit.
Okay, I got it. That makes
But
sense.
this is elite man's average maximum. Again, she's generating a
She's
lot.
pushing the ground harder.
Too hard
than
here, too hard.
an elite man
It's too hard. This is the unit is in body weight, so we
I
eliminate.
get it.
Now, this is too
Wow.
much. If this force becomes more than 2 times your body weight, it's too much.
She's pushing 2.5 times her body weight.
Yes, it's too much. So what that means is, you see this force here, this force is hitting through the ceiling here.
Yeah, yeah.
This force is basically giving this spike in the torque here, but this force is too much, and this timing is too late.
Yeah.
So when you have too much push here, then what happens is at impact, you have unrating, severe unrating. So this is the impact. Now the force is going way below the body weight here. So at impact, you have a severe unrating. It's because you push too much. So the unrating should be continuous here, and then the maximum unrating has to occur about the top of backswing, and then you have a nice, reasonable push here. Then at impact, the force will stay above the body weight. But because you have almost no unrating here, that means your backswing motion and downswing motion are disconnected. Okay? Because the backswing is pretty slow here. When you have active rhythmic motion, then push and the unrate will be continuous, and then maximum unrating occurs here, and then the force goes up early. But you have completely disconnected the push and unrating here. That means, again, you are the backswing is too slow, and then you're not connecting the backswing motion to downswing that well. So although you are pushing really hard here, okay, but it gives about this much torque and it quickly decreases. What's important is the area under the curve here. This is the torque, but under the curve is called the angular impulse, but that determines the overall how much rotational velocity you gain. And because generally it stays low here, and even if it has a sharp peak, but still the area under the curve is not much. This is a too much push, unnecessary too much push. And also, again, at this point, most of it should come from the leader foot, and then on the trail foot, you shouldn't have that much force here.
Yeah.
So in the downswing, when you approach to here, you should have most of the force on the leader side here, and then swing through and then stand on this. But what happens is, sliding this and you try to push the ground, you have jumping action here. That's why it causes all these issues.
Okay.
So as I see here, what you need to work on is the rhythm.
Yeah.
Currently, your backswing is a bit too slow, and then it's too flat. So you try to just spin and then try to do something in the downswing. But the backswing should be well connected to the downswing, okay? So that you have to really take advantage of your backswing motion, and you have to have a good initial condition for the downswing. So when you start the downswing, this is top of backswing here. When you start the downswing, you should have a pretty good initial condition here. So what I see here is basically you need to develop more than anything the flow and the rhythm in the swing.
And starting with speeding up that action is going to help with all
Yeah.
that.
So what you have to practice a lot is this continuous swing motion. Swing, swing, swing. So when you have this continuous motion, then your body will naturally respond to the swing cycle, and then you will be able to use your legs to push the ground. And with that, you're promoting this rotation. Okay, so what I see in her swing is she needs to develop good rhythm in her swing. Currently, her backswing is slow and the flat, and then backswing is not well connected to the downswing. You're not really taking advantage of backswing. Image this. When you jump, instead of just starting from squat position and then jump, you will normally go down and jump, right? So your goal is to jump upward, but before that you are moving downward and then jump. This opposite motion is called the counter movement. Okay? And then it will improve the initial condition. So when you have this counter movement and then try to jump, at the bottom you have a lot larger ground reaction force. So it's called the counter movement. And the golf swing, backswing is a counter movement. You actually have to use the counter movement, and then when you start the downswing, you should have a really good initial condition. Okay? But if you don't utilize the backswing as a counter movement, then you have to start all over again in the downswing. So that's what you're currently doing.
Yeah.
That's why you have to have excessive early dropping with the body.
You're saying to use the backswing as a counter movement, the same way that when you're going to jump, we dip down and then jump. The backswing is analogous to that, in that it's the counter movement before the jump.
Yep.
Do you get what he's saying?
Yeah.
So then you have good initial condition for the downswing, and then your body motion shouldn't be too exaggerated. So you know it by instinct. You know that your backswing is not well connected to the downswing, so that's why you are doing certain things in the downswing. But if you imagine, have you ever bowling?
Yeah.
Then you approach, and then you go all the way up here, and then swing. This is counter movement. When you throw something, this wind up is a counter movement. We always have a counter movement before the main movement. The reason is it will give mechanical and biomechanical benefits. So you can take advantage of the counter movement and the better initial condition for the downswing. You can throw faster. You can have a better direction control with this motion. So it has many benefits. And you have to use the backswing as a counter movement. But for that, backswing should be well connected to the downswing. So it should be done under the same rhythm. But if you go slow and then stop here and then start all over again, these are disconnected. So then you know your body is not quite ready because you don't have the advantage of the counter movement. Then your body tries to make a compensation. That's why you see certain motions. Okay? And then jumping and try to drag it hard.
And then you think that improves many different things. The sequencing of it, the horizontal ground force, the timing of several things. Of your concepts that come from biomechanics and your school of thought, which ones are most controversial among the mainstream golf teachers?
Slow backswing versus faster backswing.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of slow backswing is better.
The slow backswing actually just causes a complete disconnect between your backswing and downswing. So you lose the counter movement effect. Then in the downswing, at the beginning of downswing, you have to do a lot using your body.
What causes one of the things that's bothered me is when coming through in the finished position, when she gets short and doesn't have the width, and there's that.
It's because she's dragging it here. When you drag, you have the pull here. When you pull, you cannot let it go. Only when you have the image of throwing this, then you can extend your arms.
So it's this, but that feels. I don't know. I'm going to do this.
So in her case,
I don't fully understand.
in her case, this is what happens. So you have while you're kicking the ground, you're pulling this in here. So in this action, it's hard to really let it go here. So what you have to learn is release and stand on the lead leg here. Throw and stand instead of this action here. But
how do we train that? What's the drill?
no, you have to use the entire motion and then develop good rhythm. Once you have a good rhythm in place, then you don't have to do that. You are doing it because you know that your body is not ready. Backswing and downswing is disconnected, so you are not taking advantage of backswing. then you try to do something to compensate that in the downswing. That's why it promotes these excessive motions.
She just goes and speeds up the backswing, that's not going to make her quit pulling it.
A lot of things change. A lot of things change. Particularly when you're in the backswing, you have more throwing image. Instead of lifting this up and then try to pull here, if you throw and then wait until this is completed, and then you can throw this way. But if you just bring this up and then try to pull here, nothing changes.
Throwing it with your arms is the feel or the idea.
So here, earlier I used my right arm only, but this time I'll use the left arm only here. And what you have to feel is let it go, release here, so that at impact this arm is reasonably extended, right? This action here. This action here, instead of try to pull it in. So that means you have to use this motion, which is called the pronation, supination of the forearm. Using this, throw, and then this will be supinate here, like this. Okay. But you are doing this in an extreme way here, because go here, when you try to flip here, you have a quick supination here. But if you let the head go away from your body, let it go through, then automatically the forearm will naturally go to a supination here and then finish here. So more than anything, you need to have the feel of throwing this. Or if you have a frisbee in your hand, throw. In frisbee, you cannot really pull it this way here. You have to let it go, right? The same thing. So, but ultimately, the whole thing is just rhythmic motion. When you have a rhythmic motion, swing through. This goes a bit faster, right? You develop rhythmic motion, then no need to drag it here. No need to jump. Because if you jump, it's hard to go back. But if your intention is to continue this motion back and forth, you cannot jump here, right? So it'll discourage jumping. And then,
No, but show me.
yeah, stay there so that we can record the swing back and forth. Swing back and forth. Now here, I can hear that this is slow and this is fast. But try to have both similarly. Try to put more effort in the backswing. Let us hear higher pitch which sound in the backswing. Downswing, you don't have to swing that hard.
Then just go back and forth.
Just make almost a symmetric both ways. Yeah, keep swinging smoothly, keep swinging. So now there, currently because your hands are going too low here, automatically your body is pushed this way here. So even the hand positions, keep it a bit symmetric. Go a bit higher here. If your hand goes this high, bring the hands also that high, okay? Make it symmetric. Bring the hands a bit higher in the backswing. So bring the hands higher in such a way that on the way down, you don't feel your body has to go like this. If the hand goes too low here, on the way down, your body has to go slide, right? So here. Here, your hip is moving backward too much. Already, you are sliding this way here. So let's go here. As you go, stand on the right side. Stand on the right side. Yes. Like this. Okay? So remember, you don't have this horizontal motion here because in the back, you are going to this position here. Instead, stand on the right side, stand on the left side, stand on the right, stand on the left as you swing. Yes? Yep. Already your swing motion is a lot simpler. But particularly when you allow your pelvis to shift this way, you cannot go too low here. You can go low only when body goes like this. Then you can go really low.
Yeah.
And also, this one here, instead of letting the hand move like this, try to use the right shoulder here. As you swing, use the shoulder motion, bring the shoulder a bit higher. So in other words, in the backswing, let me hold this. In the backswing, your goal is not to swing this using the arm here, but rather,
Yeah.
because once you start here, throw here, then just maintain this motion by flexing the elbow here, instead of try to drag it this with arm low here, and then try to put it back here. Okay? So when you start the backswing, quickly
Okay.
bend your right elbow. That swing alone is already a lot better. So you are eliminating this, and you are not turning all the way to the end of your range of motion, but rather, because you have to repeat this motion, you're active slow down and then going down, active slow down and then going down. So the best is to use a rhythm here.
When you do
That's
what you call reprogramming on certain things, how does that?
Reprogramming means changing the swing pattern. I'm using a lot of rhythmic motion to naturally develop the flow. Yeah. So we do have, in our DNA, we have the way we move the body. But then, interesting, sometimes through instruction, you go away from that natural motion. But what I do is just to bring people back to the natural movement pattern that we're supposed to use. So
you'd be about rhythm, reducing, obviously getting rid of the slow, flat.
and they eliminate the excessive pelvis slide.
Yeah.
So those are all coming from active trail leg action in the backswing. So you have to support your body well using the right leg. So one thing you have to definitely get rid of is this here. As soon as you start the backswing, then you're going this way here. You have to get rid of this.
Yeah.
Rather, stay on the right side and then throw, and then your elbow is going this way here. Throw using almost your
Throw in front of
shoulder and throw.
in front of the plane, not behind you. Yeah.
So this action, with that, you will be able to extend this side. So make this side straight, or straight like instead of. This is the first step. But for the reprogramming, we can have maybe about 2 hours of reprogramming later. So if you come back, just for reprogramming, then we can use the entire 2 hours for reprogramming.
And you would, in the reprogramming thing, you would work on is
the rhythm and the shape of the swing.
the rhythm and the plane issue here.
And we can easily fix the issues as long as she has the ability to control her body motion. Sometimes what golfers do is that without thinking, just doing the same thing again and again. Then it never changes. But
Well, for her, it's slower when as she gets older, but she would it would take a while, and then all of a sudden she overcorrects the other direction, which is what you're seeing now, because she used to do some of the. But so much of that is done when you're practicing on your own, right, without the perfect feedback, and then you're. I don't know.
So we have different things, but it could be because of instruction. It could be because of your own interpretation of
Right.
what's presented and so on. But
Or the disconnect between what you're doing and what you feel like you're
the
doing.
bottom line is we have to bring her back to what we're supposed to do. So it's what's inscribed in our DNA.
And you would do that as a 2-hour session working on
That's
tempo.
really fun.
And
If we had the short feedback today, then we could have a little bit of time to work on that.
Okay,
But
so then I'll talk to her, and then we can email and talk about that, right?
yep. So, I mean, with what we have here, your coach may be able to change things. Okay, so that's certainly possible.
Would
But
you recommend anything to her in terms of, she does workouts and all that, any specific focus on her?
always focus on the flow. You should be able to repeat the motion back and forth without feeling awkward.
But in terms of weight training or her?
Even in the training, use a lot of functional movements
Yeah, I do.
instead of isolated. And also, whatever you do, you have to always consider the rhythm. So when you have this, for example, just as simple as arm curl, still you can have a sort of rhythmic motion, using the body first and then try to do this, rather than just doing this. So avoid the isolated resistance training.
Yeah.
Always try to engage your body, and it has to be a good rhythmic motion. When you use a kettlebell, for example, throw Russian style, kettlebell, or you can use a kettlebell and then going this way, in this way, but try to maintain good balance, dynamic balance. So always engage the whole body. Have a rhythmic, motion.
Okay.
No isolated muscle training.
Okay.
And no slow motion like this, but always you have acceleration, deceleration in the motion. Okay? So some of the things trainers use, that's against the natural rhythmic motion.
I get it. Do you have any other questions?
I know you have the season going on, but I recommend that find one Sunday or something, and then reprogramming for 2 hours. That would be worth.
How many of those sessions you normally are there before you see meaningful progress in that one?
Again, it depends on how quickly she understands the ideas and then change the body motion. But she's the only one who can change her body motion. What we do is we just provide the instructions. And she has to process the information and then make that happen. But if if she can control her body motion reasonably well, then within one session you will see big changes.
All right, you're gonna let me know what you want to do, and then we'll
Yeah, my approach is different because I'm not a golf instructor, but
Are you a golfer?